The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise, sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process. Welcome to the television show devoted to local business, Buffalo on the Rise, with your host, Joe Chili. There's an entrepreneurial spirit in Western New York that's putting our area on the cusp of greatness. Each week, Buffalo on the Rise features local business leaders and decision makers who are shaping our future. If it's about local business, we'll talk about it right here, right now, during Buffalo on the Rise.
I'm Joe Chili. On this edition of the Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise, from basic eye care to LASIK surgery, Fichte Endl Elmer's Buffalo eye doctors and optometrists offer several procedures to correct your sight. Martin's Mercantile in Akron connects with the community that we love, supporting local artisans and vendors from Western New York. Need medical treatment but don't want to head to the hospital? Premier Ambulatory Surgery Center provides services for patients not requiring hospitalization. Find out how they can help. All of that on this edition of the Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise.
I'm Joe Chili. Joining us on Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise is Kevin O'Brien from Fichte Endl Elmer Eye Care. How much they pay you to wear that hat today?
So, you know, I was in a pirate festival, and the hat has nothing to do with it, but I thought I'd bring it up because I actually was under the beard. The hat I wear in surgery, because you have to wear a hat in surgery.
Really?
Yeah, they don't pay me enough.
You know, that's
It's embroidered. Come on, it matches the outfit.
Yeah, that's a very nice hat. Is it held on with duct tape?
Yeah.
Let's talk about today the Zeiss Smile laser procedure. I don't know. When I think laser procedure, it skeeves me out a little bit, but it's really a good procedure, right?
A lot of people have this perception of you're an airline pilot. They're going to shine a laser in your eye, and you're going to crash. Well, not with laser eye surgery. It's very controlled. It's been around for a very long time. I've been involved with these guys for over 34 years. Laser procedure has come a long way, and the Zeiss Smile that we'll talk about is just the newest tool in the toolbox, best way to put it.
And what is, when you start talking laser, what are they actually doing with the laser? I mean, lasers burn, don't they? I mean,
There are different kinds of laser. There's a cold laser that actually works inside the eye. So after cataract surgery that we talked about once before, it can actually create a change behind the eye. What lasers do is they do sometimes burn. What they do is they can cauterize inside the eye. But these lasers that I work with, or we work with at Fichte Endl Elmer Eye Care, are all cold-based lasers, and they work on the front of the eye. It's almost as if you were cool sculpting the front of the eye with tiny little air bubbles. And Zeiss Smile is exactly about tiny bubbles.
And what does it stand for?
Small, S is for small, the M is silent, lenticular extraction, incision lenticular extraction. It's hard. It's a mouthful. That's why they call it Zeiss Smile.
Yeah.
But it's basically, it's a small little lenticle or piece of tissue removed through a tiny, tiny incision.
And so why would people choose something like this over a standard procedure? I mean, I think of things like, and it's probably just me being Mr. Cosmopolitan, but I think sometimes newest isn't always the best,
True.
but
You don't want to get the first generation anything. I mean, even a first generation iWatch or iPhone, everything is not that great. But this has been out for 8 years. Over 8 million of these have been done over the world. It's fastly approaching the #1 procedure to do other than LASIK, although LASIK is still the standard procedure, because of its simplicity. And you pick it not because you would pick it. You'll do the research and then you'll say, yeah, I want to learn about that. Then you go in and you talk to your doctor, and if it's not for you, they'll say don't have this done. For instance, if you're farsighted versus nearsighted, or you're just not a good fit with it. But it's nice for those people who have a very high prescription. You can offer them something that's less invasive, very quick in terms of recovery.
Oh, so the recovery is it safe to say it's faster?
Sure, because the first procedure with laser was done on the very surface of the eye. It was called PRK, photorefractive keratectomy, and that was done with kind of shaving the front surface of the eye. And it's like a dermabrasion on your skin. That was 6 to 8 weeks before great vision, and 6 to 7 days before you felt wonderful. That's still done, and it's done for some people who have to have it done. Next comes LASIK. LASIK's very quick recovery because there's no dermabrasion. It's under a flap, but this is even no flap. This is a different laser called a femto laser in the center cornea of the eye, That's why the faster recovery.
So basically it's less invasive, is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, and what are you talking about for an average, I mean, when you get out of surgery for something of this nature, you don't do both eyes at the same time to begin with, right?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, unlike some surgeries that you can't do both eyes.
Yeah.
I just left with a hat on and just did 4 eyes just maybe an hour ago. And the second gentleman that sat up was a minus 8.00, which is a pretty strong prescription. Usually 2 or 3 or 4 is a prescription. He was 8. He sat up from the laser and he looked at it and he said, you know, I can already see better. That was 30 seconds afterwards. And that's how fast it is, especially because it's higher prescription range. You do have kind of a foggy vision, like you're looking through a contact that's been in for overnight or something, but almost immediately you can see things. It's just amazing how fast it is.
And in situations like this, because I really don't know, I mean, you know, but luckily I haven't had to have, you know, surgery for cataract shot. Will it eliminate the need for glasses? Will you still need reading glasses? Sure. What happens, or does it vary?
The beauty is when you're 20 years old and you decide to have this done, or 21 or whatever, that you have from that 20-year-old mark all the way up to around your 40s. And the inside of your eye then changes, the lens changes because it loses flexibility. That's a different condition called presbyopia. So you can enjoy the next 10, 15, maybe 20 years of no distance glasses because your eye can still focus. When you hit that wonderful 40 mark, that's when you need reading glasses. And that's when that happens to everybody, whether you have anything done or not. You can have perfect vision your whole life. 41 years old, you wake up one day and you're like, I can't see my fingerprint anymore. So that happens to everybody. So if you have LASIK done, or if you have SMILE done, or if you have surface treatment done, strongly tell you, you will need reading glasses over 40. There are other things, so you don't have to do that, but those 3 types of laser, you're going to definitely need reading glasses afterwards.
Do people still have those little half glasses things that they wear anymore, or no?
I probably have 35 of those around my house that I now don't have to wear because I've had cataract surgery. But oh yeah, I mean we have those because we have a full optical. And
does it make you talk differently when you?
It makes you sound like your nose is stuffed up because you're kind of like talking like this.
Well, that's awesome. You also have seminars and things, open houses, things that you do, right?
Sure.
People can find out about those where?
Once a month, and if you look on our website, it'll tell you the exact date. They're usually held on a Thursday or Wednesday evening. You come to the office, you sign up on the website or by calling. We have a light dinner served. You get to actually talk to someone who's been through this. And then more importantly, well, not more importantly, because the patient's very important, but you also get to talk to the doctors. So you can ask them one-on-one. So, you know, what's the complication rate on this? Or what do you think about this? Or my sister told me that. And you're actually talking to the guy or woman that's going to do your eyes. So that's the beauty of it.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Fichte Endl Elmer Eye Care by calling one of our offices or go to Fichte, Fichte.com.
Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following.
Welcome to Buffalo on the Rise. I'm your host, Joe Chili. With us, Ginger Martin. Hi, Ginger. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Ginger is from Martin's Mercantile. Now, I just have to ask this question because I always wonder when people start up businesses. Did it take a long time to come up with that name?
No, actually. Actually, it was a good friend of mine. We were kind of going back and forth about names, and he said, what about Martin's Mercantile?
And you said it works.
Yes, I liked it.
And your husband agreed.
He did agree.
Now, that's a great thing. So what was the interest? I mean, what got you started?
Well, actually, my husband and I have owned our buildings for over 25 years, and we had rented them out for 18 of those years to an Akron pharmacy and gifts. And during the pandemic, he had decided to retire, and Rite Aid bought him out. So it left our buildings available for sale. So we had called our realtor to see if she would, be interested in listing them for us, and she said now is not a good time to.
This was
to
during
sell.
the pandemic?
During the pandemic, yes. As far as like for brick and mortar buildings, it was not a good time to sell. And then we also talked about who was going to be in their right mind to open a business during the pandemic. So it left our 2 storefronts available. So my husband said, well, you've always talked about getting into retail, so here you go. So we talked a little bit about, what to start. And so we kind of came up with this, kind of morphed into a an upscale artisan market and retail co-op store, because we thought somebody wouldn't necessarily be able to rent the whole storefront, but maybe, you know, small spots that they could rent. And so I started calling other co-ops in the area, and everybody had a waiting list for people to get in. So, and I think a lot of times during the pandemic is when there was a lot of people that started up their own businesses, small businesses at home, as far as with making crafts and things. So,
Well, now you're in Akron?
we are in Akron.
So you talked to me a little bit previous to this about wanting to make Akron kind of a destination, right?
Yes.
I mean, we've got Ellicottville, we have Lewis, you know, we have some of the small, you know, places around the
Right.
area. So there are some things to do when they come in to go to your Mercantile store.
There is. So we are hoping to get Akron on the map, and as far as a destination, there's some other great retail shops right on Main Street. And then we also have some wonderful restaurants too. Akron Falls Park is also just a short walk from the Main Street district there, where all the stores and restaurants are. So it's a great spot to stop in and spend an afternoon, or, you know, just if you need something to stop into the Mercantile and just grab that gift.
Tell me some of the things that you have in the Mercantile, some of the unique things.
Right. So we have a variety of different food items. We carry Fowler's candy. We also have a lot of the Amish canned foods that we get in Penn from an actual Martin's family that's down there. We also have Two Daughters Bake Shop that we're actually known for our scones that she makes. Yeah, and then we also just opened up our cafe about 6 months ago. And so we're brewing freshly brewed Finger Lakes coffee, which is out in Victor, New York. So they deliver it fresh every week for us, the coffee beans.
Where did you become familiar with Finger Lakes coffee? Was it just out of a clear blue sky? Were you in Rochester? Did somebody?
Actually, we had heard about Finger Lakes coffee, about how amazing their coffee is, especially from people that have visited the Finger Lakes. And so we reached out to them. Jesse, our rep, is awesome, and he comes every Tuesday usually and delivers our fresh beans and fresh roasted beans, and you know.
So you
it's great.
grind it and you make it all?
We do. We grind some and we brew.
The smell must be unbelievable.
It is amazing, yes.
Really?
Especially our Jamaica Me Crazy. That's our biggest seller.
Jamaica Me Crazy?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we have a variety of foods, and then we have new toys. We carry Melissa and Doug toys. We also have crafters in there that make pillows. We have woodworking, we have soap makers, candle makers, so just a variety of things. We also have vintage finds. There's a few artisans in there, vendors that have vintage items. We have a boutique area, we have new children's clothing, so we just have something for everyone.
Where do you find your artisans?
So we had posted on our Facebook page and Instagram that we were looking for artisans, and so it's a great problem to have, but we actually have a waiting list of people that are waiting to get into our Mercantile. Yes.
Well, that says a lot about the Mercantile, about the store itself.
Yes.
Okay, now we talked about coffee and we talked about grounds and how it smells. Do you do cinnamon scones?
We actually had a maple cinnamon scone that was really good, but our best seller would be the fresh blueberry lemon scones. Those are our biggest seller.
Blueberry lemon. This is the destination. You have people that just come in for the scone?
Yes, we have our regulars that come in every morning and for their coffee and scone or muffin.
And so what time of day does your day start?
Well, the store opens at 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm there pretty much, you know, quite a bit earlier than that.
Tell us the location once again.
So it's 62 Main Street, Akron, right down in the village of Akron, in the business district there. So there's also Akron Park. I don't know if I had mentioned that as well, too. That has the falls there. So we have a lot of tourists that come in to visit the falls. And
how much of a drive from Buffalo? How long?
I would say it's probably maybe 40 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
From Buffalo.
That's good. That's not bad at all. Well, we really appreciate it. Ginger Martin, from Martin's Mercantile, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, some people come and visit you. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Martin's Mercantile and owner Ginger Martin by calling 585-447-9529 or go to martinsmercantileakron.com.
Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following.
Joining us today is Elle Tam, who is the Clinical Director and Nurse Administrator, I guess I'm saying that, at Premier Ambulatory Surgery Center. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you here. I managed to get ambulatory out. I'm surprised. That's a good thing for me. Talking about the Ambulatory Surgery Center, when did you open?
We opened in 2018 and went on par with insurances in 2019 and started seeing patients.
And give us an idea what an ambulatory center is.
We do day surgeries. You come in, it's for a short period of time, and perform your case, and you go home in the same day, usually within a matter of a couple of hours.
So does that mean that you handle cases that are previously scheduled, right?
Yes.
I mean, so it's not an emergency center or something of that nature, right?
No, it is not. We're able to handle an emergency, but we don't have walk-in clients for treatment.
So what kind of, procedures are we talking about?
We do cataract surgeries, we do GI services, gastroenterology, endoscopy, colonoscopy.
You're covering us from head to toe, basically.
We are.
That's good to know.
Safely.
Safely from head to toe. What differentiates you from other clinics or maybe from going to a hospital, for instance?
Well, we have all new equipment. We have board certified surgeons, and all of our nurses are trained. We have deemed status with the New York State Health Department, and we're efficient. You're not going to spend your whole day doing your screenings or your surgery. You're going to go in safely and be discharged the same day.
What does deemed status mean?
It means you've gone through rigorous surveys and you've passed, and you are able to perform your cases safely and without complication.
How do you convince people not to be nervous when they're going to have a procedure done? I hate to say this, but for me, and maybe I'm not the typical individual, the anticipation is 10 times worse than the actual procedure itself.
Well, you're greeted by a nurse when you come in, and she takes care of you in pre-op, so it's one-to-one. So we're never at a level where the nurse can't get back to the patient to answer questions or to offer comfort, as well as qualified care. So we're one-to-one, and at the most, a pre-op nurse, she has a patient, finishes, answers questions, and she's able to move on comfortably to the next case.
And what kind of qualifications, when you're hiring people to work at the ambulatory center, what kind of qualifications do you look for?
I look for prior experience, so they're familiar with the efficiency of an ambulatory surgery center. I like them to be ACLS qualified and have an infection control background.
It was COVID difficult for you folks?
Well, we did do cases that were emergent or necessary, medically necessary, but no, I still have the same staff as I had from 2018 until now.
Is it still exciting for you and for your staff to go to work each day?
It is. We work very well as a team.
You know, you were telling me the fact that you may spend 10 to 12 hours
Yes.
in an ER or something like that. I can't even imagine. You know, doing a 7-minute interview for me under bright lights seems difficult, right? But you're dealing with something like this, and I think that maybe oftentimes we don't give credit where credit is due. And, you know, and I'm talking about people such as yourself and the people that are working for you. They're like kind of the first line, you know what I mean?
Yes.
These people are people that have been doing it year after year after year.
True.
And does your staff constantly have to be recertified?
We do take our ACLS every 2 years, and we do continuing education and infection control. But we're a group of people that enjoy working together, and we enjoy what we do. So,
Do you constantly look for individuals to help out, or new individuals for staff? What happens if somebody retires?
as we grow, we do hire, and we started out with a small staff, and now I have 15 nurses that work, 3 surge techs, 2 reception staff. So it's we're always willing to hire as we grow, and people stay.
And how long have you been doing this?
44 years.
God bless you. That's great. So you started when you were 1.
I
Good for
did.
you. That's good. Elle, thank you very much. We really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
For more information and answers to your questions, have your physician contact Premier Ambulatory Surgery Center or call 716-898-2100.
Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following. Thanks for watching this edition of the Big WECK Presents Buffalo on the Rise. For information on this and other shows, go to our website, bigweck.com, and find out how you can participate on the program if you're a hometown business. I'm Joe Chili. Thanks for watching and listening to the Big WECK, Buffalo's oldie station.
The Big WECK Presents Buffalo on the Rise was sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process.